Hey, this is Sam Black with my third match with red-white tokens. I'm on the draw against a mulligan to 6, and I have a nice hand here. I'm a little Gideon heavy, but Apprentice Indicopter with perfect mana is... Can't really complain about that, and my opponent is down to 5. Scry at the top. Botanical Sanctum. Wonder if that means my opponent's actually playing Marvel. Some kind of teamer deck. I'm just going to lead the copter. Oh. Planes. Alright. Fancy. Alright. I probably should know this deck at this point, but I don't. Wonder if my opponent is playing Woodland Wanderer. This was a hand that really wanted to draw a land. Have the Smuggler's Copter to try to do it, but it's gone a little bit too long on 2 lands. My opponent's certainly in the game at this point. With the clues pretty easily making up for the mull to 5. Alright, so now I have to decide if I want to sacrifice a guy to the Tireless Tracker to get in some damage, and I think I do. No box is pretty great for me. That was unexpected. I don't know what to make of that. 3 is not a lot of life. What's my opponent going to do to get out of this? I don't really want to just play Pia into a Wrath. I don't want to not play Pia and not have a win on board because of it. I'm just going to play it safe and play the Inspector and pass. Then, if my opponent doesn't do anything, I can sacrifice the clue to try to draw land to be able to Pia and no blocks. If my opponent plays a Sweeper, I can return a Scrounger, which is lethal, unless it's a Fumigate. So I win? Yep. That was really weird. Okay. So all I know is that my opponent has... I think this is probably a no sideboard spot. My opponent showed me big creatures, but didn't show me big life-linking creatures. And the big creatures that I saw were slow. So I think I want to just try to bushwhack around them. I could see cutting Gideons or Copters or something for declarations, but without knowing more about my opponent's deck, I think I just want to run it as is. This is a hand that I'm comfortable keeping without a turn 1 play. If I draw any 1-mana play, I can play it on turn 1, it'll be great. If I don't, Needle Spires into Scrounger, into Pia, into Outnumber Bushwhacker is just a good hand, and that's drawing no extra cards. I don't even need another land to be able to do all that. I was going to say, so if I draw a 1-drop, the hand just becomes great, but Gideon's also pretty good. Now I have Insurance, where if I draw a land, then I have the ability to play that on turn 4 or 5, and that'll be sweet too. Was not anticipating Reflector Mage, I will admit. Possibly I should have been. It's just more of a creature deck than I'd realized. Okay, this is just a 4-color aggro deck. A lot of options this turn. I could Apprentice plus one of these plus Outnumber. I could Gideon and make a token. I could just play these things. I think it's probably Copter, Apprentice, hold Outnumber, trying to decide if Pia wants to attack in there. Probably not, because of Gideon. Oh, well, that'll work just fine. Trade Pia for Brawler? I think I actually do. Brawler's a pretty good attacker. More to the point, I wasn't going to block with Pia, and there's a chance that my opponent wouldn't block. So next turn I get my choice of Gideon or Scrounger Bushwhacker or whatever I draw. It's a good range of options. So I could just try to trade with the Scrounger, with the Copter, but I don't see any real reason to. So my opponent can make 3 Thopters. Seems like a good spot for Gideon. I think it's probably just an emblem. Emblem makes my creatures match up way better against my opponent's creatures than they currently do. And then I think I can attack with a Copter using Pia. I'll leave my Thopter back to block my opponent's Thopters. My Apprentice can hold the ground. Alright, well, at least it costs my opponent a Thopter, or a third of one, but the ability to make one now. Alright, well, if I'm losing my Smuggler's Copter, then I think I want to play the Mountain. Ooh, that's what my opponent's deck is about. It's pretty good here. I'm gonna give my opponent a card to kill the Thopter. Is that real? Just not give my opponent a card and not kill the Thopter. Okay. All right, so would really like to kill Tamiyo. This is attacking Tamiyo for sure. This is attacking Tamiyo. Problem is I have very little life to work with. Tamiyo can minus and kill my blockers, or turn off my blockers, which is horrible. But if I just attack with all of my creatures, I don't have the blockers anyway. This is not a good spot. I do not think I'm going to win this game. There's very little life. Do I just have to leave the Bushwhacker back? See if my opponent just taps these two creatures and then attacks with everything. This thing blocks something, and I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, yeah, I just die very easily. Alright, this is all I can do. So just kill one creature. Whirler Virtuoso Tamiyo is a really good combination. Alright, well that was not a good block. My opponent's deck is pretty sweet. Okay, so let's see, if I attack with both of these and kill Tamio, my opponent can only put me to 1, but if I go to 1, then these Thopters cause a problem, so I guess I'd just attack with Pia. Oh, I should have considered playing Servo Exhibition. Oh, I guess I could just sack the Thopter. No, I don't want to sacrifice the Thopter, though. Definitely should have considered playing Exhibition and sacking the Exhibition, sacking a Servo to stop the Servant from blocking so that I could kill Tamio. Probably would have been right, but this might work out. Alright, so and my opponent just draws a bunch of cards. There's Woodland Wanderer. Okay, so this can't block, and I attack with the other Servo and pump it twice. Or I just attack with both Servos, that's the same. So this will kill Tamio. Pia and the Inventor's Apprentice hold off this thing. Oh, my opponent's just not even blocking. Well, that was much better than sacrificing a Servo. Play this so that I can return the Scrounger. Problem is, if my opponent deals with this Thopter, like a Reflector Mage, I'm on a real short clock. That was not a good tap job. No, it's just a 5/5 for no reason. Oh, attacking with this Woodland Wanderer is a big mistake. Unless my opponent has something. But I think blocking with the Needle Spires is not a good way to go. I guess there's something to be said for getting P off the board. Okay, so 2 mana for the Scrounger. So if I want, I can attack with Needle Spires. Have this thing under control with these. So I am stable. I do need to try to win. Drawing a card and getting a 2/3 into play is pretty good, though. Six is like a lot of damage, though. I'm in a really precarious spot, so I do want to be trying to end the game with a favorable outcome. Alright, that's a good card for me to have my opponent draw. Alright, I can play both of those and attack. I guess the Scrounger doesn't actually usefully attack here. Needed Pia for that, which is related to why my opponent killed Pia. Oh, Spellqueller's bad. Spellqueller's real bad. Two, so this is obligated to jump block Spellcaller. I have no play other than attack with everything and hope my opponent somehow lets themselves die. Or just is dead. I guess my opponent has to have something here. They only have 3 blockers, and I have 6 attackers. So I'm getting through for lethal if my opponent doesn't have a spell. If they don't have a spell, this Thopter attack was really bad. The way the game has been playing, it seemed like they didn't have a spell. But... alright. This was a mistake. If this were just back, I wouldn't have lethal here, and then this would kill me on the next turn. So... that was a weird match.